Àwa tí tí ń ṣiṣẹ́ plumbing o, ìgbéṣẹ́ wa.
So here is a simple way of, should I say simple or a little bit complex or technical way to install drip irrigation, especially when you are using well and when the well is kind of distant from the farm. So yeah, our first operation was to install pipe where the pipes will have to create two channels because one, the initially the well, the pumping machine in the well was is pumping water directly to the tank. So now that we want to install our drip irrigation, so we had to create two channels where one can be directing water to the tank and one will be directing water to the farm. So and for us to maintain a good pressure or a good amount of force of water, so we have to have control valve. So where if you want to let our water to go down to the farm, we'll open, yeah, the one going to the farm and close the one going to the tank. And if you want the water to go to the tank, we do the reverse. So we close the one going to the farm and open the one going to the tank. So that's where we can actually control the level of water force. So yeah, we've already installed everything, and we had to use 1 inch hose in order to maintain the pressure going down to the farm, since the farmland is kind of distant to where the water source is. And this particular hose we used is 50 meters, so it can cover the distance from the water source to the farmland. So we had to connect it with 2 inches lay flat, where a 2 inches lay flat had to uptake the water from the end points of the hose. So here we did a kind of whack connection, even though we changed it because that connection cannot hold the force, the water force that is coming through that passage. So yeah, we had to do some little connections due to the leakage of the lay flat. So we connected pipe in between so that it won't be wastage. So we had to just improvise that way in order to minimize um, finance funds. So here is the point at which the lay flat that will direct the water to the farm. So that is the point. It will take the water and it's going to uptake the water right from there to the farm. So here is the farm, and these are the beds. So the lay flat continues the journey down to the end point of the farm. So and each bed will take its water right from the lay flat. And for that one to be possible, we'll have to install our connector. So the connector is one that is going to do that work, where we'll connect our connector to the lay flat and has to align with the beds. So each connector will be connected to the leaflet and all the connectors will align to the beds. So that means the number of connectors we are using is absolutely dependent on the number of beds we have available. So here we had to cut out our drip lines because the drip lines are the one that will supply the water directly to the plants, directly to each plant on the beds. So yeah, we had to work smart and not just work hard. So this is the efficient way to cut out drip line. First off, use that this particular method and find a very good bed as an example to cut out the numbers of drip line we want for every other bed. So that's what we did here. And this particular method is less time consuming and less energy draining and is way more efficient. So especially if you are doing it alone, it is a solo work. So yeah, I was trying to indicate that that's where the connector will be installed, and the drip line will take up the water from there, from that particular place, then supply it to every plant on the bed. So yeah, we've already installed the screwer that will hold the connector. So here we are screwing our connector to the screwer. So and this is a very good idea due to the fact that the water coming through the passage, the force of water coming through, but it won't be able to push out the connector. So when the force is much, so that screwer will still be able to hold the water force, and the the results will be good. So yeah, we've already connected our connector and everything is aligned to every bed, every bed on the farm. So as I said earlier, the number of connectors we are connecting um, depends on the number of beds we have on the farm. So yeah, we had 34 beds on the farm, and so we had to install 34 connectors. So yeah, I was just showcasing my hand, that's so dirty. So our next operation is to connect the drip line to the connector. So where the drip line will pick up the water from there and supply it to the plants that are being planted on the beds. Okay, I've installed our drip line, installed everything. You are set to pump water in and make sure all everywhere is evenly distributed. So yeah, we've already pumped the water and water is already coming out from the emitters of the drip line, and we make sure everywhere is evenly distributed before we start our planting. So from this video, you can see that installing drip irrigation is not that technical the way I actually said it for the first time. So it's just about the understanding on how the pattern moves. So if you can understand the pattern, it will be very easy to install drip irrigation. So you can see everywhere water is already coming out from the emitters and supplying and already being supplied to the specific area we need water. So that's one of the advantage of drip irrigation. So it supplies water to that specific area that water is needed, and with that, it helps with water efficiency and also control the emergence of